Hello everyone, this is Mr. Appel, and today we're going to do long division with polynomials. So it's going to look very similar to long division with numbers, with some obvious differences. So let's walk through the process. So first I'm going to set up my division, just like you would in a division problems, and I'm dividing this expression by this one. So the x minus 2, the thing that's going into the expression, goes out there. And this one goes underneath, but this needs to be in standard form. So remember, that's from highest degree to lowest. So the 3x to the third goes first, and then the 4x squared term goes next. But we need to have something in each place. So there needs to be an x term, and I don't see one, so I need to remember to include a 0x. This is really important, as you'll see when we get going, that you include the 0x term. It's similar to if you were dividing into like 2,405. That 0 is kind of important as a placeholder. Okay, so now let's go through the process. So similar to dividing with numbers, we start by dividing. So step one is to divide. And so what we're doing is we're going to divide the first term into the first term. So x goes into 3x cubed how many times? A way to think of that is x times what would give you 3x cubed? And the answer to that is 3x squared. Second step is to multiply, again, just like you do with regular long division. So 3x squared, but we're going to multiply by the whole thing, the x minus 2. So that becomes 3x cubed minus 6x squared. Next step is to subtract. Again, just like you would in regular long division, I'm going to subtract. You really have to be careful here. The first part, the 3x cubed, those are going to cancel out. 3x cubed minus 3x cubed is 0, so they cancel. That's always going to happen. If that doesn't happen, you're doing something wrong. Where you really have to be careful, this is where most mistakes happen, is we have 4x squared minus negative 6x squared, and so minus and negative becomes plus, so that's a 10x squared. So just really be careful with the sign. Step 4 is to bring down, so we bring the next term down, and then we repeat. We do it again. So now we're going to divide. I'm going to change colors just to make it a little easier to follow. So x goes into that 10x squared 10x times, because 10x times x is 10x squared. Now I'm going to multiply the 10x by the x minus 2. So that's 10x squared minus 20x. Step 3 is to subtract. So 10x squared minus 10x squared cancels. Again, that happens every single time. Now we have 0x minus negative 20x. So that's 0 plus 20, which is positive 20x. Then we're going to bring down the next term, which is that 10. Do it again. Let's change colors. Let's try green. So x goes into 20x 20 times. 20 times x minus 2 is 20x minus 40. Then we're going to subtract. 20x's cancel. It's 10 minus negative 40. That's 10 plus 40, which is 50. Now we're at the end because there's nothing left to bring down, and so that 50 is my remainder. Now you may remember from long division that if you did something like 2 into 5, 2 went into 5 2 times, 2 times 2 was 4, subtract, you'd get a remainder of 1. So you could write that as 2 remainder 1, but more often you do 2 and 1/2, where that 1 goes over the 2 you were dividing by. And so connecting that here, we've got a remainder of 50, so it's 50 out of or over the x minus 2. So our remainder is 50 over the x minus 2. And that is long division with polynomials, and that thing that I just boxed and highlighted, that is your answer. That's all for now. Thanks.